Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, it's not often that we do political hit pieces, and I don't think this is necessarily going to be a political hit piece. And one of the things, and we'll try to remain consistent to our mission here, is we're not going to tell you how to think, but we are going to give you the stuff to think about. Now, we know that politicians will say just about anything to get elected and or re-elected. Some obviously are far worse than others, and that includes people on both sides of the aisle. Today, though, we're going to focus on none other than Governor Jay Inslee, because I think that anytime you could take a look at what they said in the past and then what they say today and compare the two and ask them to reconcile those statements, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So today, let's spend a few very important minutes and talk about when your governor has no moral compass. Okay, so the issue we're going to be talking about today is Governor Jay Inslee, coming to you from our Central Washington location here in beautiful Cle Elum, Washington. Now, I actually meant to do this video about a week ago. I had found this interesting little thing floating around out there in the Twitter sphere, and then, of course, the world took over, the legislative session took over, and we ended up focusing most of our attention on that. And it wasn't until one of my loyal viewers, Mark G. from the Issaquah Sportsman's Club, actually sent me a message and said, "Hey, dude, have you seen this?" And, you know, it kind of got the wheel rolling again and said, we got to get this video out. So this video is to all my good friends at the Issaquah Sportsman's Club, in particular Mark G. and all of your support of both Washington gun law and our Second Amendment rights statewide. Now, some of you may know this and some of you may not, but before Jay Inslee was hard at work in Olympia trying to screw up our state from top to bottom, Jay Inslee was actually in the other Washington, D.C. at one time as a United States congressman working feverishly to screw up the entire country. You see, in Jay Inslee's first term as a United States representative from 1993 to 1995, representing Washington's 4th legislative district, during his tenure in office, there was the enactment of the Brady Bill, the Brady Handgun Violence Protection Act of 1993, better known as the Brady Bill. Now, the Brady Bill did lots of things, namely it required mandatory background checks and waiting periods for all handgun sales, and then in addition to that, most of the prohibited questions that you now have to answer under Section 21 on a 4473, you know, are you a felon? Are you a domestic violence abuser? Are you a fugitive? Are you a pothead? Have you ever denounced your country? All of those questions in 21, that came, most of them, from the Brady Bill. Now, when Governor Inslee had a constituent in the 4th legislative district who wrote a letter in support of the Brady Bill. This is the letter, verbatim. I'm going to read it to you. This is the letter right here. And I'm going to read this letter to you verbatim because this is how Jay Inslee in 1993 responded to this constituent. Dear Mr. Ives, thank you for contacting me to express your views regarding the Brady Bill. I always appreciate hearing the particular concerns of my constituents on the most important issue. The Brady Bill, as introduced in the 103rd Congress, would require law enforcement personnel to make a reasonable effort to ascertain within 5 business days whether there is any legal impediment to a citizen applying for the purchase of a handgun from receiving one. Accordingly, a prior criminal record or mental instability would qualify as a legal impediment to a citizen receiving a handgun. Present Washington state law allows a law enforcement officer, upon receipt of an application, to perform an equivalent background check. Upon discovery of a prior criminal record or mental instability, law enforcement can deny a citizen the right to purchase the handgun. While I firmly believe in the importance of reducing gun-related violence in America, I am not convinced the Brady Bill would achieve this goal without infringing on the constitutional rights of the many law-abiding citizens in the state of Washington. Present state law is satisfactory in keeping guns out of the hands of those who present a threat to society. Thank you again for expressing your concern over this most important issue. Please feel free to contact me again. It is important for me to hear from you. Very truly yours, Jay Inslee, Member of Congress. And let me, again, I'm going to go back and highlight what Jay Inslee actually put in writing to see what he believed back in 1993, which is, I am not convinced the Brady Bill would achieve this goal without infringing on the constitutional rights of the many law-abiding citizens in the state of Washington. So at one point in his political career, Jay Inslee was willing to fight against universal background checks and mandatory waiting periods on handguns because it was going to infringe upon the rights of the lawful and responsible citizens in Washington state. Fast forward to today, where we sit today now, Jay Inslee is hell-bent on absolutely, positively, and without a doubt, disarming every citizen in the state of Washington. He has no regards for a person's constitutional rights. He has no regards for your Second Amendment rights. Don't believe me? Take a look at Senate Bill 5078 last year, the magazine ban. Don't believe me? Take a look at House Bill 1143 this year. Don't believe me? Take a look at House Bill 1240 this year. Don't believe me? Take a look at Senate Bill 5078 this year. So at one point in his political career, Jay Inslee believed that the implementation of universal background checks and a 5-day waiting period to purchase a handgun was a violation of the Washington citizens' right to keep and bear arms. And Jay Inslee in 1993 was willing to put that in writing and act as though he was willing to actually fight for your rights. Fast forward to where we are today, and this is the point of today's video. Yes, there are politicians who will do and say anything to get reelected. The ones who are the slipperiest, the ones who seem to move about the board the most, are those that don't have a moral compass at all. When you take a look at Jay Inslee's political career, how he represented the 4th legislative district only to get swept out by the Tea Party, when he then turned around and represented the 1st legislative district, when you take a look at all the flip-flopping he's done, all the pandering he has done, take a look at Jay Inslee's last horrible attempt at running for president. This is a governor who simply lacks a moral compass, and he will do anything at all to gain political power, even if it means stepping all over your constitutional rights. Listen, you may have more questions about your governor or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights. You guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now, but if you don't, hey, all of that information is in the description box down below. In the meantime, I do want all of you to remember that part of being a lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here at Washington Gun Law, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching, and stay safe.